Hi guys, and welcome back to a new video. In today's video, I will be talking about the season 4 of Shadowlands that will be launched on August 2nd, and I will explain how you can start preparing in order to make some gold during this new season. So the season 4 will be the last season and the last patch of Shadowlands, and with this new season, people will be able to unlock new achievements and rewards in mythic dungeons and in arenas, and also all the different raids from Shadowlands will get a new difficulty mode with new items with an eye level of up to 311. So with all these new changes, of course, there will have new opportunities to make some gold. And my goal in today's video is to explain how I'm currently preparing and how you can also start preparing in order to make some gold in season 4. So the first thing you want to do is to start crafting all the different consumables that will be relevant and that people will need in order to be performant in all these different activities. The first category is, of course, the different potions and flasks, such as this one, the Spectral Flask of Stamina, and the Spectral Flask of Power, probably one of the best one. Keep in mind that, again, right now the prices are very low, but most likely all these different consumables will have an increase of value at least for maybe 1 or 2 weeks after the launch of the patch. So just start crafting a bunch of these, stockpile them, and wait for the value to increase in order to sell them. After that, you also have the different food buffs, so the Feast of Glutinous Hedonism and the Empty Kettle of Stone Soup, and the Veiled Augment runes. So these ones are a little bit more tricky because the value at the vendor is pretty high, and so posting these different runes on the auction house can be worth a lot. So just make sure to purchase some if you find them very cheap, and then wait for them to have a good enough price to sell them on the auction house, because otherwise you might just lose a lot of gold by posting them and by having like very expensive fees and not being able to make some profit. So really up to you to see, but the Veiled Augment runes can be profitable also when the new season will be launched. After that, we also have, of course, a lot of overcrafted items and crafted like materials and consumables that you can use. For instance, you will have, first of all, the different heavy desolate armor kits and all the different item enchantments. So a lot of these will definitely be relevant because a lot of people will get some new gears. I cannot just say if the value is going to increase or not. It's really blurred for me, but I think you can still, if on your realm it's profitable enough to craft a bunch and wait for the patch to be released and then sell them, and I'm sure you will be able to make some profits. You also have, of course, the different missives and all the other optional crafting reagents, but especially the missives because, again, these are necessary in order to craft the legendaries, and a lot of people might buy them. Another interesting category of items are the Ventus runes. So these ones are, right now, only one is relevant, the Sepulchre of the first ones, but the two other ones will become relevant again because people will have to go back in Castle Nathria and Sanctuary of Domination, and so I really think you will be able to make some additional gold with these different runes. Especially, we know that for the first week, it's Castle Nathria that will be released, so make sure to have some of these runes available, and I'm sure you will be able to make some profit with these ones. So after that, another thing you can do is invest in all the different materials that you need in order to craft the legendaries or any other items that people need in raids, arenas, or mythic dungeons. So, of course, what you need to keep in mind is that it's always uncertain whether you will be able to make a lot of profit or not, because unfortunately it depends on the market and on the other players. So on some realms, I'm sure some people will just buy out all the different stocks when the patch will be released and then post everything for a way higher price. But unfortunately, on some realms, some people might just then cut down and go back to a very cheap price, or you just might not find people interested in buying these different consumables for a very high price. So it's really up to you to see, but my only recommendation is go on your realm, check the quantity and the value of all these different items. If you see that it's way below the regional market value average, then try to purchase some of them. And especially if you see that there is not a lot available and they're cheap, buy out all the stock and repost it for a lot of gold, and most likely it will remain quite high and you will be able to resell all these different materials for a pretty good profit when the new season will be launched. But again, keep in mind, it's really something that you should do only if you're like confident enough that you will make some profit and that you know your market well enough in order to see if you will be able to sell them for a higher price or not. And of course, it includes all the cloth, the leather, the metal and stone, the like fish and meat, the herbs. And me, as you can see, I'm already starting to buy a lot of them. But again, it's only because right now on this room it's extremely cheap and that I'm pretty sure that I will be able to make a decent profit with these items. So after that, another interesting thing you can do is start investing in some of the legendaries if you haven't done so yet. These legendaries, we are not sure yet if they will remain the same during season 4 or if they will maybe have another rank or if they will have like a new way to upgrade the eye level of these different legendaries. So right now, I think we can assume that these base items, the rank 7, will remain the highest one you can craft, and then maybe they will just introduce something that you can use in order to like upgrade the eye level. But most likely you will still be able to make some gold with all these different like base items. What I would recommend you to do is to see on your realm, if you haven't started to craft any of these legendaries, to see which ones are the best ones in terms of like the value and the sell rates, the ones that will sell the most, and then try to see if you can maybe like craft enough legendaries in order to reach rank 4 and to then craft the rank 7 legendaries with the different vestige. Because right now the value of the material is extremely cheap, the most expensive ones being the ones you can actually purchase from the vendors. And also with the nerf that happened in patch 9.2.5, you can literally just craft some of these up to rank 4 for like maybe less than 10 or like 20k gold on some realms. So just try to make sure to see if you can make some profit with some of these, craft a bunch, and then wait for the new patch to launch and see if you can like make some profit with all these different legendaries. I would not recommend you to like craft all these different legendaries if you haven't started yet, simply because they will remain obsolete after the end of this season and when Dragonflight will be launched. So keep that in mind. But right now, I think for the next few months, they will still remain a pretty good way to make some decent profit. And so if you haven't started yet, just look into it and maybe you will be able to find a couple that you can craft for a very cheap price and then you can make some profit with them. So that's going to be pretty much it for today's video. I really hope you will be able to make some gold during this final season of Shadowlands. Again, keep in mind after that, most of the different like materials, consumables, and legendaries that we are currently making gold off will become completely irrelevant with Dragonflight. And so just make sure to not invest too much and to have too many materials and items to sell, because after the end of this next season, they will not sell anymore. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer. And yeah, I will be back very soon with more videos, with more guides. And in the meantime, I wish you all a very, very great weekend. Bye.